the blanket and I spread it over the backs of 2 chairs that I put together back to back. And I'm playing under there, and my mother said, "Ward, what are you doing?" And I said, according to the story, "I'm playing in my circus tent." Well, nobody to this day ever figured out where I had ever heard the word circus, let alone to know they had a tent. There had never been a circus there, but I think I was preordained to be in the circus business. When I was 14, well, I'm getting ahead of my story. When I was in school, and by the time I was 9, 10, 11 years old, those years, I was living with my mother, not my mother, my aunt, because my mother and father had separated when I was 7 years old, and my mother took my sister and I to Kankakee, Illinois, and a few years later my father came along, abducted me, took me back to Nebraska, and put me with an aunt who treated me wonderfully. She also was taking care of my grandmother, who was blind. And my aunt was a piano teacher. That's how she earned a living for us. But because she was a piano teacher, Ward had to learn to play the piano. I hated it because I had to practice a minimum of an hour a day after school. I would much rather have gone out and made friends with the other school kids and played with them. But I also had to take care of my blind grandmother so that my aunt could be teaching people how to play the piano. So as a result, I never had school friends and never was close to any of the people. And so then my father came in 1942, I think it was, 42, and he abducted me again, took me to Denver, Colorado, and when we were those years in Denver, we lived mostly in a rooming house or small hotel in downtown Denver. And the school I went to, junior high, was out quite a ways, and I'd go out to school and come back on the streetcar. But likewise, when school was out, I'm back downtown Denver, never got acquainted very much with any of the kids in school. So there was a lot about life I didn't know. I worked since I was 12 years old. I would be a dishwasher at a restaurant or an usher at a theater at night. And that was okay with my father because I helped for us to be supported. And then in 1944, I was 14, and a circus came to town. And I walked about 3 miles out to the circus grounds and was fascinated by it and asked for a job. And they gave me a job as a prop hand. Now the props were heavy in the circus, and I was just a light kid, you know, but I worked very hard and I really enjoyed being with the circus, and I was learning something. But I had to leave to go back to Denver to be in high school because it was my first year in high school. And I did not like high school very well. I didn't feel that I was really learning anything that I needed to know. And there were some, I will call them ruffian boys, kind of a gang of 5 or 6 guys that had a habit of beating up on some of the other kids, and they were bullies, in other words. And one day, well, first of all, because I would be going to work right after school, I had the habit of wearing a suit and a tie, which was certainly not usual for a high school student, you know. And so these guys that I knew were unpleasant people. One day when I was going to school, they walked up to me, and one of the guys said to me, "You're queer, aren't you?" I didn't know what the word meant. And I said, "Well, I'm odd." But I got got to thinking about that. They're up to no good, and they're beating up on somebody all the time. It was not, knowledge around there. So I simply did not go back to school. The odd thing about that was that no authority, no one ever asked my father, why isn't Ward in school? Nobody ever contacted me, and that's why I wasn't going to school. But this was during World War II. There were no child labor laws during the war. And if anyone did anything that was considered a help to the war effort, you were hired. I went to work for the Denver and Salt Lake Railroad. And today, if you were to ask who had a show with the carnival, what kind of a show it was, and who they were, and so on. And there were 22 sideshows listed in that directory. That's in 1965. And there was a young man, he was a kid, he was still in school in Buffalo, and he wanted to be in the sideshow. He could do a little magic, he didn't have any other experience. And so he wrote a letter to every one of the 22 sideshow men that were listed, and he said he selected mine because I wrote him 6 pages of bullshit. And so at that time, 1960 through 1985, the only sideshow they ever had with Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, was my show. In the years of the old garden, 1960 through 67, was Nate Eagle and I were partners in that, and then Chris and I were partners in the other side shows that they had after that, and the last one was in 1985. But anyway, I had written him or called him, I don't know which, and said, if you're having, a recess from school, and it's during Easter week, and you want to come to New York and work with the sideshow at the garden for that week, I will hire you. Understand, you're not going to be performing in the show, but we have 9 acts and 9 pictures. Everybody sold something. I said, I'm going to need extra help for our stock room and taking care of the sound equipment for that week. And I said, this would give you a chance to meet the other people now that I have, and if you like it and you want to, then I'll give you a job to go with the sideshow in the summer. And so he did. And so that year he came with me, he was there all season until time to go back to school. He went back to school, and the next year he came back again. But the first year he learned how to eat fire, did magic pretty good. And I don't know, he might have done a couple other little things, walking the swords or something. And then the second year, he learned how to swallow swords and talk front. And take off the clown makeup and put on the female makeup, but he never exposed that he was a man in the show. Interesting. And the most prominent of the people that I can think of, I had a person, Diane D'Elgar, the world's only true living human hermaphrodite. She is not a man, and he is not a woman, because this person could be legally dressed as a man or a woman, could legally marry a man or a woman, because Diane D'Elgar can legally become the mother or the father of children, because she has both sexes.
And she performed in the sideshow? Sorry, she performed in your sideshow?
She was in my show for 13 years. And that was our annex attraction, our bull. And so in here today, we will invite the adults in our audience into Diane's private theater. There, under bright lights, without any veils or G-strings, you will see her reveal her sexual forms. Okay? Well, this was a drag queen. And his real name was Georgie Searles. And the first 2 years he was with us, he was rather heavy set and looked very effeminate. And people would, in the restaurant, say, stare at me, you know. And that bothered me. And so the third year he came with me, he was dressed and lived all the rest of the time as a woman. But he only went to the finest ladies' clothing stores in the big cities and bought very good, classy clothes. And he got by with it. One of the things he told me, and this is all I know about his sex life, he said, I love to go out with policemen. There is nothing that thrills me so much as when they take off their belt and put their gun on my nightstand. I must also say this. She was so clever and so good at everything she did. Probably 90% of the policemen who went to bed with her never knew that she was not a female. But anyway, that's the one story.
And that's a good one. Did you work with other half and halves?
Yes. Frankie Moran is a great story. Frankie was from Oklahoma. And Frankie started with the 101 Ranch Wild West Show. The Cannonball was Zazelle, Madame Zazelle, the human cannonball, who got shot out of the giant cannon twice a day in the circus. But as soon as Madame Zazelle went back to the dressing room, she became Mr. I don't know what the real name was, it sure wasn't Zazelle.